Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my 700 subscriber Q&A video. First of all, excuse me, I'm a little bit hoarse, and I'm not exactly sure why. But this is just a fun video, so I hope you all can bear through it. I don't know what's going on. But more importantly, thank you all so much for helping me get to 700 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I love you all so much for your support. I know I say that at the end of every single one of my videos, but that's because I mean it each and every time. I really do appreciate all of the love, all of the support that this little community that's come together over my channel gives. So thank you all. I'll give you kisses at the beginning this time. So to celebrate this occasion, I took to Twitter and asked what it is you would want to see, and Twitter spoke and answered with a Q&A video. I was actually nervous to do a Q&A because I was like, okay, yes, I'm at 700 subscribers, but like, who am I? Like, who am I that people want to ask me questions or know things? So I don't want to make a fool of myself and do a Q&A session and nobody ask questions. So I was always really scared and really hesitant. And that's why this is the first ever Q&A on my channel. But you all rock and you all are amazing. And I received a ton of questions. So again, thank you all for submitting questions, making this more fun, making it all more interactive. I really am excited that people had so many things to ask and so many great things. Y'all made this hard. This was like a difficult task to answer all of these questions because they're so good and so much thought had to be put into so many of the questions. So let's get to it. I don't want this video to be like a full hour long to get through these questions, but I'm going to try to answer everyone's question as respectfully and honestly and thoroughly as I possibly can. So let's get moving. The first question comes from filmmaker39480, and that is, what are some of your favorite MCU girl characters? Well, there aren't that many, so not that many prominent characters, I should say. So it narrows the list down pretty quickly and quite easily. My new favorite of all of the female characters within the MCU is Okoye. She was the standout all-star awesomeness within Black Panther for me. But I also love Scarlet Witch. She was kind of my previous female #1. I just love her power set, and I want to see her do more with that power set. Obviously, Black Widow is awesome, and I would say the Wasp, especially after seeing her really embrace it and kick butt in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think those would probably be my top 4. I also grouped them, so this is like the next grouping of terrible movies. But the next 2 questions also come from filmmaker39480, and the first one is, what are some of the worst movies you've ever seen? Well, I have seen plenty of really terrible movies throughout my life. Some that other people agree are bad, some that other people don't agree are bad. But some of the worst movies I have ever seen, well, I did see Battlefield Earth with John Travolta, and it is, in fact, terrible. The Room is, in fact, terrible, so that goes in there. It definitely falls in the, like, so bad it's good category, but it is definitely terrible. A ton of terrible films. But worst will answer your next question, which is, what is your least favorite movie of all time? And that also will answer the question submitted by Man v Film, my friend Graham, which is worst movie you've ever seen. And for me personally, that is movie 43, that weird comedy that had that all-star cast that was just a bunch of vignettes shoved together. It was horrible. I don't know what this director had over all of these actors to get them to star in this film, but it was just so bad. I think I barely got through it, but it was horrible. And it is by far the worst / my least favorite film ever. So Daniel from Half Knocked asked, what's a movie that you hate that you just can't stop talking about? To be honest, I don't think there is any. Sorry to be boring. I really didn't want to not answer or give a non-answer to any of the questions. But I'm not a good ranter. I'm going to say that. When it's not about like fun real life stuff, I am really not that good of a ranter, and I forget about bad films pretty quickly. I'm more apt to rail against a movie that I think is like overhyped than I am against a just blatantly bad film. So sorry, I don't know. I don't really talk about bad films too often if I can help it. The next two questions were also similar, and the first one came from Jamie Hughes, which says, what is your favorite comfort movie? And this for me is Beauty and the Beast. Whenever I'm in kind of a down mood or a meh kind of mood, I always go to the 1991 animated classic Beauty and the Beast. And then Anthony from Silver Screen Analysis also asked, favorite movie to watch when you're sick? And Beauty and the Beast is pretty much that, but also The Devil Wears Prada with Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. It's like a nice sick length for me to like be awake and slowly drift off to sleep. But I've seen it so many times that I don't necessarily get invested all the way. It's worth the laughs and I just love it. So that's kind of my other go-to sick movie if it's not Beauty and the Beast. So I received two food questions. The first came from Technodrone 406 asking, what is your favorite food? And my favorite food is just cheese pizza. Classic, good, bomb, cheesy, delicious pizza. And then Daniel at Half Knocked said, pick one to disappear forever. Burgers, tacos, or steak. So I'm actually a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. And that made this a pretty easy choice for me. So burgers, there are some great black bean and veggie burgers. Tacos you can make with beans, or they have some really good like taco crumbles made out of black beans or some sort of tofu style stuff. And steak there are, but it's basically like seasoned seitan or tofu. So I would pick steak to go away forever. Ashley, the movie Oracle, asked, what would be your lip sync for your life song? Well, it would definitely have to be from one or two artists. It would be either Britney Spears or a Shaka Khan song. And while I was thinking of it, I'm going to go with Slave for You. I already have that choreography like down. I memorized it as a child. I taught myself it, and I think I would just like kill it in drag on Drag Race. I don't know that these other girls would be ready because I'd bring my extra little flair. So I'm gonna go with Slave for You by Britney. The next set of questions all had to do with YouTube and YouTubers and being a YouTuber. I was asked by Jamie Hughes and Canine Coach 67, why did you start YouTube? What led you to do this? Basically, I started YouTube because I saw a lot of movies anyway while I was in college. I was seeing movies once I graduated from college. I noticed I was seeing at least a movie a week, if not maybe even sometimes more. So I thought, if you're seeing all these movies, why not get online and talk about them? I have some people in my regular life who see quite a bit of films and like to talk about film, but why not share your opinions and make use out of this like little hobby that you have? Get something going and make it into something positive. And I just love to talk about the films and love to dissect them and talk to other film fans. So I made my YouTube channel, and that pretty much is why I started the channel. And then Daniel at Half Knocked asked, why review movies instead of music and TV? So I answered that slightly in the previous answer, but the real answer is that movies are just my passion. They are what I enjoy the most. Movies are far and away my form of escapism, so they bring me a lot of joy. I like to just watch movies often, and that's why I really decided to go with that. I have taken classes in film while in college, but I also had taken a few classes regarding television, and if you don't know, I actually started college out as a music major, so education definitely doesn't have much to do with it, but I just connect most to film as a media. TV is definitely out of the question. I'm gonna be honest, I keep up to date with like 2 or 3 TV shows, period. I am horrible when it comes to TV. If it's not Game of Thrones or RuPaul's Drag Race, I probably don't know anything about it. I haven't watched any of it. Ugh, old school TV, maybe I'm a little better at. I'm not a TV person. It takes so much investment. And I just find myself doing other things. As for music, I definitely could see myself talking about music. I do love music. I am really good when it comes to old school R&B, soul, and funk, as well as pretty much all of the genres current day. Anything current events, I'm usually pretty good at. Pop music, rap, hip-hop, R&B, I'm really good at. Country, I'm good at. So I have a decent array of musical tastes, and I could definitely see myself talking about that. So if I wasn't doing a channel about movies, it would definitely either be music or it would be sports, surprising enough. I keep up to date with pretty much all of the major sports, and I love to talk about sports as well. So that would be probably my number 2, even above music. And then Darren Lucas asked, do you have a go-to video of yours you go to as a marker for how far you've come? What a great, like, insightful question. Unfortunately, I'm not that insightful. I don't really have a go-to video that I use as a marker. I'm going to be honest, the videos I watch the most of mine are my lip sync videos because they're my favorite videos that I've created. And in that respect, I guess I get to view how far I've come in costume design and, you know, working with others to help with my makeup, and the production value on those has definitely risen over time. Sometimes I'll go back and just watch random videos of mine, usually countdown videos, and I get to see the production value in those and how they've raised as well. That's probably why I don't have 1,000+ subscribers, because I don't really have a benchmark. Sorry. It's a good idea though, and I think maybe that should be something. Akshay Breaks It asked, how will you describe your growth from 0 to 700 subscribers, and how did it help you grow as a person? Another really great and insightful question. So I would say that my growth from 0 to 700 has been slow. It has been slow and steady. I've been doing this for some time now. And particularly at the beginning, I really didn't know at all how to grow my channel. I wasn't really networking. I wasn't really talking to anybody else. I was basically just uploading them and sharing them on Facebook. And that was it. So it took me a long time to, I guess, start being more serious about it, trying to find different lighting, trying to find different backgrounds, this, that, the fourth. And then it took me a long time to actually start interacting with folks on the internet. I was, I guess, scared and late to the party there. So it took a while to get my channel even really rolling and getting moving. And then I had one really viewed video that helped a ton. And that's really where I noticed a big chunk of my subscribers started pouring. And then the more recent growth has been nice. So it's been a slow and steady. And as a person, it's definitely taught me perseverance and patience, as well as, I guess, just how to have a tough skin and be strong. I knew going into YouTube with this voice that clearly I would be a target for a certain type of comment and hate. And of course I have received that, maybe not as much as I anticipated, which is a nice shock, but I was able to learn how to handle that criticism better, as well as constructive criticism. I didn't actually anticipate people giving me constructive feedback videos, but learning that, implement it, and work it into making my content better has been something I've learned, but especially patience and really learning what I was in this for, because there have been plenty of times I've been down on myself and I've thought, why are you even doing this, Larry? Nobody watches your videos, yada yada, you've spent a lot of time on these, for what payout? And it's just taught me to really evaluate why you're doing this and reevaluate my goals and my reasoning behind the channel, and to just stick with it. And and keep doing it regardless of the outcome if it's something that I enjoy doing. So, yeah. The media reviewer asked, what is your advice for small review channels and how should they get more people to watch their videos? Well, I don't know that I'm necessarily a big authority on that. 700 is a beautiful number, and I'm so thankful to have 700. But by no means is that huge in subscriber counts. I haven't even quite hit like 1,000 yet, and obviously some people have millions of subscribers. And my videos, I think, have performed well over the past year. Just a marked growth in just overall view count. But I'm definitely not a marketing guru when it comes to YouTube. My personal advice to small review channels is to network quickly. And I don't just mean commenting on people's videos, hey, I reviewed this too, come check mine out, or sub for sub type stuff. Genuinely find other movie review channels and watch their content, subscribe to their channels, talk to them on their content. Then you can maybe mention on social media that you do reviews too, and you know that you want to talk to them and interact with them. Because at the end of the day, even if you don't get huge numbers, you're making friends and you're making this beautiful community online. And that's really been the most positive aspect of all of this for me personally, is creating this really positive, amazing community that I'm now a part of. So even if the numbers don't come in and the views don't come in, then you have this community if you start reaching out and genuinely making friends with people. So that's my first bit of advice. My second bit of advice is to not chase views and not chase subscribers, really, to not worry about that, to put that energy into your content, into creating something you're passionate about, something you're proud of presenting to the world. 3, I say get some sort of decent lighting, whether that be natural lighting and you have to film during the daytime, and getting a little setup where you have that natural lighting, and some sort of good audio. Because I'm going to be honest, when I'm watching videos, if I can't really understand you at all, I'm more likely to just click off. And then if the video is just like a hot mess, I'm also more likely to click off earlier in the video. I might give it a chance and try to stick it out for a bit. But if those two things aren't at least passable, then I find myself clicking away. So those would be the two kind of technical aspects I would aim to get to a nice level quickly. Fitness I Am RC asked, best advice you'd give to your younger self. This is also a really deep, good question, especially because I think I still need to give my current self a lot of advice. My current self is in no great position to give advice to my younger self. But if I were to sit down and talk to my younger self, it would be to accept yourself and who you are in entirety early. And you know you're different. You know that you take pride in being different in so many different ways and your varied interest, but just accept who you are and know that it's okay. And it's okay to come to terms with that with everyone, and so be it. And to keep that confidence. You're so confident at such a young age. Don't let that get shaken, and believe in yourself. You are worthy. You are enough. So Jared Buckendahl asked, what or who got you into movies and your love for them? Well, the main answer for this is definitely family. In particular, my grandmother. She is the one who mostly I've lived with and was raised by my entire life, and she loves movies. So she would show me movies. I would watch movies all the time as a kid, and that was mainly because of her. Even now, I go to the movies all the time with her. So she really helped foster that love of film within me. And then Samuel One World asked, what is the one movie that made you fall in love with film? So, typical nerd boy here. It was Empire Strikes Back. That was the film that just kind of like blew my mind as a kid. That reveal, the emotions, the stakes, just the entire epicness, the entire wonder of it all is what really like hooked me into loving movies as a whole. Before then, of course, I had loved plenty of films, from Poltergeist to The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, Free Willy. Those were all a lot of my favorites growing up that I'd watch on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. But the movie that I remember, like, really getting me into film as an art form and as a bigger picture type thing was Empire. Next two questions are from Daniel over at Half Knocked. The first is, if you could be the lead in a video game, which game would it be? Well, unfortunately, I'm not a big video game person. Actually, pretty much the only video games I ever play are sports video games. So Madden, I have a few tennis video games because tennis is my jam. I'm also a NASCAR fan, and I always buy the most up-to-date NASCAR game. So those, you can kind of create your own person, or you're like these celebrities or these athletes. So I'm not going to really pick any of those because they don't really have a lead. So for that, I don't know. A lot of my other favorites are from comic books and like fighting games. Those don't have a lead either, so Laura Croft? I honestly, I don't know leads in story-driven games. Sorry. And then he asked if you could replace the lead in a movie, which movie? This was a really tough question. I would love to be the lead in so many different movies. So Star Wars, the original trilogy, of course, is so impactful in my life. But I don't think I'd want to be Luke Skywalker. I like my hands. It seems like a hard life. And as much as I'd like to replace, like, Jane Foster, just so that I could be the Thor love interest, she's not a lead, so, can't really go that route. Honestly, I'd pick between two LGBT films that have come out over the past year or so. So it would either be Nick Robinson for Love, Simon, or Elio, Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name. I think I'm going to go Love, Simon. It was the first major breakthrough LGBTQ film in the mainstream. I think it would be nice to have an LGBT person in that movie, in the lead of that movie, to represent that. So I'm gonna say Love, Simon. I think it's a beautiful story, a story that needs to be seen and be heard, and yeah. And then Jason Grooms asked, if you could work on a movie, what job would you want to do? Well, I would want to be an actor. I know a lot of the film community is all about that direction life, about being a director. Some people are about being a writer. I would like to be an actor, but with this mug and this voice, well, I don't. That's not in the cards for me. So if I couldn't be an actor, I would like to be a score composer. As I said, music was a huge part of my life for a long time. I majored in music to begin college, didn't get my degree in music, but I think music is such a pivotal part to film that it would either be actor, but if I couldn't cut it, which I can't cut it, it would be a film composer. This weird kid, Isaiah, asked me, who's your favorite brother? Oh, it certainly wouldn't be that bean head shaped one, that's for sure. Jackie Figs asked, where in the world would you like to live? So I actually have never been out of the country. I know, it's blasphemy, it's horrible. So within the United States, I like Denver a lot, but I might move to Seattle. And out of places I've never been outside of the country, I would say Italy. Seems like the calling for me. I'm part Italian, and I would just... What is there not to love about Italy? From the outside looking in, there's nothing not to love. But that's where I'll say, without ever having been there. And then Jamie Hughes asked, what is your favorite movie soundtrack? Oh my, this is a tough question. So I'm interpreting the question as music, as in songs, like pop songs, or whatever songs, original songs, but words like song, soundtrack, compiled together, and not the film score, not original scores. Those are two different things for me. So there's a lot. I could have chosen Coyote Ugly, because I love that Coyote Ugly Leanne Rimes soundtrack. Everything on there's a bop. Then we have Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, that I just recently saw. but legendary. That soundtrack is amazing. And when I'm viewing these, I'm seeing not only which ones work best in the film, like which ones actually actively enhance the movie, but also which ones do I want to like listen to. Top to bottom, I'm on board. I think Love, Simon from this year had a great soundtrack, as all of the John Hughes films do. I think it's essential for a really good mainstream coming of age film to have a bomb soundtrack. I think Baby Driver utilized its soundtrack better than any film in history. I'm not going to choose it because it's just too long. There's too many in there that I'm like, I'll take it or leave it. So I'm ultimately going to say Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1, the first one. I love all of the music. I did a lip sync because I just loved Come and Get Your Love. I was obsessed with it again after seeing the film. And I think it uses that soundtrack in the film beautifully. So yeah, we'll say Guardians is my favorite movie soundtrack of all time. Okay, and then we had Tyler Calvert and Daniel at Half Knocked ask very similar questions. Which steelbook is your favorite in your collection and the coolest looking steelbook you own? Y'all came with the tough questions now. Come on now. Oh my gosh. Picking steelbook favorites is like picking your favorite child. Like, deep down somewhere you know that you do have a favorite, but can you admit it to yourself? Can you really decide these things? So I decided to cheat just a little bit and split this one up. So my favorite steelbook, oh gosh, there are so many good ones. But I decided ultimately to go with Mad Max Fury Road. Y'all know I love a matte finish. That's like my signature. And this is just a work of art. The back is just a slight bit underwhelming, but still really cool. I think the steelbook in general is a beaut. As for the coolest looking steelbook, I decided to go with the Hateful Eight. This one is like a hybrid of matte finish and that shine, but I think this is such a sleek, simple design. I really do love a nice, simple, beautiful design. I love this trimming. It's a beauty. Jason Grooms asked, who do you like more as an actor? Denzel Washington or Will Smith? This one was a pretty easy one, and it is Denzel Washington for me. I think Will Smith is really charismatic and fun and funny, but Denzel is one of the greats. I think one of the best actors ever, and one of my faves. So, definitely Denzel. Anthony from Silver Screen Analysis asked, favorite Tom Hanks movie? Oh, another difficult question. I mean, what's a bad Tom Hanks movie? Does that exist? Is this a thing? Some great ones that aren't quite number one are Philadelphia, I think is fantastic. I love Castaway. I know other people might feel it's a little bit more boring, but I think it's great. But my favorite Tom Hanks film is when he worked with my favorite director, Steven Spielberg, for Saving Private Ryan. I think that is still my fave film he's done. Future filmmaker 39480 asked, who are some of your favorite actresses? And oh gosh, we could be here all day if I listed all of my favorite actresses. I always love Queen Meryl Streep. I know she's maybe a tad problematic in real life, but I can't deny she gets me on that screen pretty much every time. As does another queen, Cate Blanchett. I think she is just fabulous in pretty much everything she ever does. Alicia Vikander is a current favorite of mine. I loved her in Tomb Raider. I've loved her in nearly everything she's done. I think she is really, really good. Of course, classics like Marilyn Monroe is just a love of mine, period. So I would be remiss not mentioning her. Same with Audrey Hepburn. I love her. Glenn Close, I think, is great. Helen Mirren is wonderful. Dame Judi Dench is fantastic. Viola Davis has never given a bad performance in my book. So, yeah, the list goes on and on, but those are definitely some at the top of my list. Daniel at Half Knocked asked, biggest pet peeve? So this I do have quite a few weird ones. No, I I promise I'm actually a pretty, like, downer type of person, but thinking of, like, the negative stuff is always so much more difficult for me in these type of videos, like worst movies and pet peeves. It's tough. Those are, like, my tough ones. For biggest pet peeve, if we're talking about in the film world, condescension. Like having that condescending tone, talking down to people, making people feel less than is definitely a big pet peeve of mine. It really like irks me and gets under my skin. Invalidating people and their feelings and their opinions is definitely a pet peeve of mine. I think that's a pet peeve in general. It's a lack of empathy, I guess. I don't know if that's a pet peeve. That's more of just a thing I don't like. Period. Doesn't like get under my skin. It just like actively makes me angry. Is not having some level of empathy and understanding. As for like a fun pet peeve, people who drive slow in the left lane drive me absolutely up the wall. I can't. I just cannot. If you're gonna go 10 miles per hour under the speed limit, there are plenty of lanes on the right side of the street for you. Get out of the left one, hey? Anthony from Silver Screen Analysis asks, a comedy you love, but seemingly no one else does. Well, there are quite a few. I think the reverse is actually more common. Comedies everybody else loves that I'm like, comedy is a genre that I'm very weird with, I think. I don't enjoy comedy maybe as much as other people do at large, and I have this weird kind of like, I like mean, sarcastic comedy the most. So I'm gonna say the Madea films are up there. I don't think a lot of people like Tyler Perry in general, but I find Madea as a character really fun and funny. Another one that I would say is Not Another Teen Movie. I think is one of the best spoof movies we've gotten. I thought it was hilarious, and it's not just because of Chris Evans' banana split scene. I do think it's really fun and really funny. So I'm gonna go with those two. Also, 50 First Dates. That's another Adam Sandler film that I think is one of his best, honestly. And I don't know if other people like it or not. Future filmmaker 39480 asks, what is the most convoluted movie you've ever seen? For me, this one is going to be Donnie Darko. I enjoy Donnie Darko. I don't know that I love it quite as much as everybody else on film Twitter and in the film community loves it, but I do really like it. However, it is like the definition of convoluted, I think. It is super convoluted. Somebody will rebuttal this and call me stupid, but I think it's like impossible to understand Donnie Darko on a single watch. And I think even on a 10th watch, you're still like, but is that really what this is? Daniel at Half Knocked asked, movie you hate, everyone else loves. So hate is a strong word. I feel like most of the movies everybody else loves, I just kind of am like, meh, indifferent to, I don't really like it, but I'm not going to go to bat with my hatred toward it. One of those is Spaceballs. It's just not my style of comedy, I have to say. It's not for me, not my style of comedy. It definitely falls into that category. But a couple examples of like actual hatred. Superbad, I hated. I really just did not like that movie at all. Everyone else adores it, so there you go. I also really did not like Everybody Wants Some, that Richard Linklater film. It was a small film, probably nobody remembers anymore. Everybody loved it, got rave reviews. I didn't get it. I did not like it, even in the slightest, so. And then he also asked, a movie you love that everybody else hates. Well, I did mention the Madea movies. It's a guilty pleasure franchise of mine that I continue to watch and like. I also liked Chappie, the Blomkamp film that came out a couple years ago, and everybody hated that movie, and I was stunned by their hatred for it. So that's a kind of one of my go-tos. I was like, oh, well, I love this movie, so. Then Alex Madden asked, what is your favorite so bad it's good movie? Well, The Room is definitely up there. I mean, how can you not just relish in how bad that film is and just how ridiculous and outrageous the whole thing is. But my other two are both DC based superhero films, and they are Batman and Robin and Catwoman. I have a blast with both of those films. I know people just outright hate Catwoman and Batman and Robin, but Batman and Robin is just such visual like throw up with all of those ridiculous lines, the horrible costumes. How can you not just relish in the horror that is Batman and Robin? I'll never know. Yeah, it did kind of kill the superhero genre, but it was just so ridiculous and over the top. Same thing with Catwoman. I think it is just so off the mark that it's so much fun. Plus, you get Halle Berry killing it in that Catwoman suit, running around like perfect, like just all of these crazy things, putting these claws on. Sharon Stone, like cracking her face if she doesn't put on her moisturizer. Catwoman literally being brought to life by cats. This weird basketball scene. I mean, it is just bonkers, but I have a good time with how bonkers it is. Nicole MJL asks the next couple of questions. First, she says, do you have a boo? Now, I am perpetually single. I'm always single. I'm like never able to get into a relationship. I'm this weird ogre living amongst humans that nobody will accept. So, no, I don't have a boo. I probably never will have a boo. Hashtag forever single. And not by choice. Then she also asked, do you think you'd ever want kids, even if that means missing out on your movies and Blu-rays? Short answer, no. Even if we take movies and having to give up some of the things that I do, I've never wanted kids. I don't want kids now. I didn't want kids back then. And then if you tell me, hey, you gotta give up them movies, I certainly don't want children. Rewind Replay asked if you could collab with any channel among your YouTube friends, who would it be and why? Well, Rewind Replay, we have never collabed, so that would be pretty fun. But thankfully, I've gotten the chance to collab and actually meet person to person, face to face, so many YouTubers that I'm pretty thankful for the collaborations I've done, from Justin Watches Movies to Rachel Wagner to Sean Chandler. I got to meet him and do some videos with him. And then, like, just video, not actually getting to meet them. I've also collaborated with so many of my friends on here. Man v Film, Graham, the Cinephile with a Microphone, Jordan, he's amazing. Ashley at the Movie Oracle. I've gotten so many great opportunities to collaborate with people. Out of the friends of mine, other than yourselves, because I would love to collaborate with you. I would love to play your new game. I don't know how that would work. Unfortunately, I don't really have the funds to fly all the way to Australia to do the paddle game. But I would love to play, if we could figure out how to do it online. I would go with Jared Buckendall. And why I'm saying Jared is because he does those little skits at the beginning and intermittently throughout all of his videos. And I love to do my lip sync videos, and I like to do little skits. I don't do them nearly as frequently as I'd like, but they're definitely a passion of mine. So I would love to collaborate with Jared on some sort of like music lip sync video or some sort of fun skit. The next two questions are kind of about my reviewing schedule and my viewing schedule. First, Daniel at Half Knocked says, how do you see so many goddamned movies with your 9 to 5? Well, it's a miracle if I'm saying so myself. So it kind of is a schedule. I hate to say this and make it sound a little bit cynical to start out, but I do kind of view this YouTube thing as a second job, per se. So I go to a lot of screenings throughout the week. I get as many as the advanced screenings as I can get and try to fill up my week with those screenings and then go from there. So I do my 9 to 5, get off, head straight over to the screening, watch the film, then as soon as I'm done watching the movie, I go home and immediately review the movie. I record the review. I then edit it, do all that fun jazz, and upload it all within the same day. So it definitely can be a chore, but it just has become a schedule of mine. It's an expectation of mine. I guess I've just done it so long now and for so often that it's become routine for me. It's definitely difficult sometimes to get the motivation, especially on films that I don't enjoy so much. Thankfully, I do have a 9 to 5 job, so I have a set schedule. I never work nights and I never work weekends, which, of course, when you're dealing with film, is super helpful. But honestly, the biggest factor is I don't get much sleep. I usually have to be to work pretty early, and by the time my videos are uploaded to YouTube, it's pretty late. And to get that kind of like unwinding time afterward, I give up a lot of sleep. I don't sit down and write things out for my reviews. I just kind of speak after seeing the film on what it is that I liked and disliked. So that saves me a little bit of time. I wish it was more helpful, but basically, straight from work, straight to the movies, and straight from the movies home in front of the camera. Less downtime in between each of those things, the better. I never like bounce home after work to go to the movies. I change in my car or I change in the bathroom at work. Just to kind of keep the ball moving, because I know that's what works best for me, is to just keep going instead of taking like little breaks or stopping in between. And then Nicole MLJ asked, how do you get to go to all of those premieres and events? Well, it's actually something that's not like exclusive or cool to me. It is something that, especially if you're in the United States, I know you can do. There are a few sites. One is gofobo.com, does a lot of the advanced screening passes. But the easiest way for me to kind of get people involved is this website called advancedscreenings.com. You can put in your city in there and then sign up to get the emails from them. And they'll send you emails for links that are open for advanced screenings in your area. But I know like Sony Pictures has their own screening website, WB does, A24 is now doing them through their own sites. Fox Searchlight was. I don't know what that situation is going to be like moving forward. So all of the individual studios, you can go to their sites and kind of just look up Warner Brothers Screening, and you'll find that site, and you can kind of like look through those periodically. Thankfully, I also have a group here in Denver that attends a lot of these screenings, so we kind of help each other out and send each other those codes. But sign up for advancedscreenings.com for a start, and then investigate those other ones from there. Jared Buckendahl asks, what's the first movie you remember seeing in the theater? That one is The Lion King. I was just a little kid, but I remember the magic of The Lion King on the big screen. And then I revisited it when it was released just a few years ago in 3D. Future Filmmaker 39480 asks, what is your favorite movie of the year so far? This is such a tough question. I don't really keep a ranking as I go through, and I don't do like mid-year best of lists or anything. And I'm jockeying back and forth between so many different films that I'm going to go with the one that I've seen the most in the theaters. I don't actually think it is my number one, but hey, it's a good placeholder for now, and that's going to be Love, Simon. Josh O'Hay asked, are you looking forward to mid-90s? So I had kind of seen the promo stuff for it, but when you asked this question, I decided to take the dive and actually watch the trailer, and I'm definitely intrigued. It looks very in line with the kind of edgy coming-of-age films I've become a little bit accustomed to. But I'm definitely excited to see Jonah Hill and his, like, writing, directing, I believe, debut. Don't quote me, but I think so. It looks very interesting. It looks like a life that was never a part of, even though I grew up right around this age in the mid-90s. It definitely looks really interesting. It looks like it can bring up some great points, and yeah, I'm excited to see what it's about. And then finally, Matthews 4-inch asked, what's your top 5 most anticipated films for the rest of the year? There are so many. I think I could easily fill up at least a top 10, 15, maybe even 20 movies that I'm really looking forward to for the rest of the year. But I decided to go ahead and highlight these 5, starting off with The Nun. Y'all know I love a good horror film. I think The Nun was the creepiest, craziest part of The Conjuring 2. And after Annabelle's sequel, I'm hopeful that maybe we can get this one right the first time around. I thought the trailer looked pretty cool, so I'm excited for The Nun. It's like my #1 horror film. Yes, even over Halloween, which I'm also excited for. But then I have Bad Times at the El Royale. This one is definitely a wild card, but that kind of adds to the anticipation for me. I think this looks really cool, really stylized, and really sleek. Plus, you have a shirtless, like sexy, but still creepy Chris Hemsworth. I'm excited. Come on now. Next up is Beautiful Boy, starring Timothy Chalamet and Steve Carell. I just think this looks absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for it. Bohemian Rhapsody, I think the trailers have been really fantastic. I love Queen, so I'm just excited to see what they do with this one. And then I have Under the Silver Lake. I know there's a little bit of trepidation recently with this film, but I'm hoping they moved it back into December to compete for some awards. But I love Andrew Garfield. I think this film has a really cool looking premise, and I am excited to see what it's all about. That's it. That's all the questions I was asked. Again, thank you all so much. I am so humbled by all of these questions that you all asked me. They were great questions, really thoughtful, really insightful, and I really appreciate the high level of participation that I received for my first ever Q&A. So let's get to 800, let's get to 900, get to that 1,000 benchmark so we can do a lot more fun videos. I'll continue to do my code giveaways on my Blu-ray hunt videos. I'm currently collecting stuff to do my next like mystery box giveaway. So lots of free stuff to come as the channel continues to grow. Of course, movie reviews are a staple here. I'm hoping to get these creative juices flowing again, get that wallet, that pocketbook handy, and get these costumes together to do a couple of really fun lip sync ideas I've had. Hopefully, there's enough time, there's enough motivation to go around, and I can bring you all some amazing content because, again, I really appreciate you all, and I love you all so much. So thank you all so much for sticking it through and watching this lengthy Q&A video. I really, really appreciate it. I hope if you stumbled across this video by chance that you subscribe to the channel so you're always up to date with our latest videos. Also, if you did enjoy this Q&A video, please leave a like down below. And comment down below things you'd like to see from the channel moving forward as we do press on to bigger and better milestones. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!